So the book is KOKOSCHKIN'S Reise, KOKOSCHKIN'S Journey, written by Hans Joachim Schädlich, published by Orthofer in 2010. And the core of the novel is set in September 2005 aboard the Queen Mary II, on which the 95-year-old Kokoschkin is sailing back to the United States after a brief trip to Europe. The book is divided evenly in sort of alternating chapters between the very mundane happenings on board the ship and his reminiscences of his past. And so the major episodes he discusses are the Russian Revolution, the Nazis coming to power first in Germany and then in the Czechoslovakia. And then there's also one scene where he previously had returned to Europe, going back to his past in Prague, and his trip then was in 1968, right before the Russians came into Prague and suppressed the Prague Spring and everything that happened there. And so these are sort of the highlights of the 20th century that are dealt with in the book. And he doesn't even go into very much detail about most of these, but in describing sort of small scenes from them, he does manage to convey a great deal about what happened in Europe in that century. The actual writing and the dialogue, there's a great deal of dialogue in the ship scenes, is very casual, and is sort of an old man who's comfortable with being near the end of his life and sort of happy to engage on a much lighter level with people. But if you look more carefully, if you listen more carefully to the dialogue, you see that there's often a second layer, that it often reflects some of those European experiences that are then described. And it's really rather remarkable how much he can fit in this short space without pushing it so hard on readers, which I think has been in these type of century-spanning books of the past decades. People try and, they throw everything in, and Schädlich very carefully doesn't do that, and that comes across very well. Kokoschkin überlegte, was nach diesem Lunch tun sollte. In Churchills Cigar Lounge saß mutterseelenallein ein Mann und rauchte eine Zigarre. Kokoschkin sagte im Vorbeigehen, hallo, und Zigarettenraucher sind hier wahrscheinlich unwillkommen. Unwillkommen sind sie nicht. Unwillkommen ist nur, dass sie hier Zigaretten rauchen. Kokoschkin setzte sich so, dass er die See sehen konnte. Der einsame Zigarrenraucher saß am Nachbartisch mit dem Rücken zum Fenster. Kokoschkin sagte, ein hübscher Blick auf das, was vor uns liegt. Mit den Augen des Masters gesehen, mein Blick geht eher zurück.